Welcome to section 3, and we are talking about lists.
In the last section, we looked at strings in great detail, and in this section, we will be looking at the list data structure.
In this section, we're going to look at a few things. First, what lists are, and then we're going to dive into some basic list methods, and then later on, slightly more advanced list methods. After that, we're going to dig into a whole lot of built-in functions Python has to manipulate and transform lists. And we're going to talk about the difference between a shallow and a deep copy lists. And we're going to save the special topic of list slicing for the end of this section. However, in this video, we are just going to introduce lists. So we are going to talk about how to create a list, how to delete an item in a list given an index, and how to access an element in a list. Let's look at how we can create a basic list of objects in Python. So this is how you would do it. So you give your list a name, and then you put a pair of square brackets, and you start listing some elements in your list. There we go. We have just created a list of numbers. However, we can create lists with other things in it. For instance, I could create a list with a bunch of strings containing names. And let's put one more, Jane. So these two lists contain different objects of different types. However, nothing in Python is stopping me from putting a number in this list, although generally we try to keep lists with a single type, in this case strings and integers. Let's see how we can access the elements in this list. And we're going to access elements in these lists using something called an index. An index is the position of an element. So Heather is at index 0. Lists are what are called zero-based, meaning the indexes start at 0. So this is index 0, this is index 1, and this is index 2. Let's see how that works. So if I print names at index 0, use the square bracket notation to access an element, and if I run this, you see we get Heather because it queried Heather, which is at index 0, from the list names. Similarly, we can do the same thing for Micah and Jane. However, index 3 doesn't exist, so we would expect an error here. And indeed, we get an error called index error, list index out of range, as we would expect. We may also be interested in deleting elements at a specific index. So let's do that. I'm going to print names. However, I'm going to delete names 1. Delete is a keyword and it allows you to remove an element from a list at a specific index. So in this case, we're deleting 1. So at index 1, that is Micah. Now let's print names again, and we expect the list to be slightly shorter. So here's the original list, and we were able to remove the first index. So now we only have Heather and Jane. The last thing I would like to show you is the similarity we have between strings and lists. Suppose we have a string called myString equal to hello world. And notice that we are able to query an index on the string. For instance, at 0 or 6, we get the characters H and W. In this sense, strings and lists are both indexable, both accessible, and easy to use in this way. However, strings are immutable, meaning we cannot change them. So I cannot do my string delete at index 2. This throws an error. String object does not support item deletion. So in this way, lists are very good if you need to change elements, but strings are nice if you know that your sequence of elements does not change. In this video, we looked at how to create lists, how to delete an element given the index in a list, and how to access elements in a list. In the next video, we're going to look at some of the basic list methods in Python.